It's very early. I've got my coffee and a pastry, and we are gonna get this day started. We are going to pick out the books that I will be reading for today. I want to pick horror books. Here are my short horror books. I definitely want to read Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. So I'll pull that one out. Goddess of Filth by V. Castro. Both of these are on my October TBR, so those are for sure. I might read this one today, In the House in the Dark of the Woods, but we'll leave that there for now. And I'll start with these two for sure. And then I also need to grab Horrorster, which is also on my October TBR. So I guess I'll start with these three. This is Exorcism. This one I've just heard is disturbing. And this one I think is a haunted furniture store. And then if I end up finishing all of these, I'll just pick more books. So I think I'm going to start with Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke. This is the shortest one out of all the books that I want to read today. And so I feel like if I knock this out really quickly, I'll just feel very accomplished for this morning. So I do not know a lot about the plot of this book, which I'm kind of excited about. I just want to like go into it. I do know that it takes place between two women who meet in an online chat room, and then things like unfold from there. So this is 112 pages, so I feel like this will only take me like an hour to read. I'm gonna get Loki all tucked in. What? I need a minute. Okay, I'm like kind of at a loss for words about this. I don't know how I feel. I genuinely think this is probably like one of the most disturbing books that I've ever read. Like there were certain parts in here where like my whole body was tensing up because of like how disturbing and graphic things were. So it's pretty much told entirely in emails and instant messages between these two women, and this like really messed up dynamic that they delve into. We know at the start of it that one of them is dead and the other one is currently on trial for the death. So like just seeing how everything unfolded and like where it went, I had no idea where it was gonna go, and it went somewhere. The back is absolutely right. It says sadomasochism, obsession, and death. And that is absolutely correct. Like, I don't know. I don't know what I think, okay? I feel like this gave what was meant to be given. Did I necessarily enjoy it? I don't know. I feel like I have kind of the same reaction to this that I did Bunny by Mona Awad, which like, they're very different books. However, I feel the exact same way in that I don't know if I loved this or if I hated it. But I think I'm giving it 5 stars. Like, I think that this achieved exactly what was meant to be achieved. Like, it was disturbing. It made me feel gross. It made me feel nauseous. But I think, like, that's what it was intending to do, so A+ in that department. I will say, if you are going to read this, do not read it on a day where you've had meat. Just don't. Or, like, don't eat before you read it at all. I feel like this would make a fantastic horror movie. I would want to see this as a movie. It would be very disturbing, but like amazing. I also just feel like, I don't know if I mentioned this takes place in 2000, and I feel like this book just like really captures the internet in the early 2000s and like how dangerous it was. I feel like that's not a conversation that people really talk about anymore, of like the internet being like super dangerous. But like, I remember when I was a kid, all of the conversations around the internet pretty much were like, it is so dangerous, it is dangerous, you're gonna meet people on there that's gonna like ruin your life and you don't know who they are. And this is like that. I feel like this is like that fear that everyone had in the early 2000s around the internet and like meeting a random person on there. Do I recommend this book? No. Do I think you should read it? No. Is it 5 stars? Yes. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. So next, let's head over to my bookshelf. I think I'm gonna read Horrorster next. This is the longest book. What is that? Oh, I forgot Loki was there. This is the longest book that I have to read today, but it's also like told in a weird format, so I feel like it could be a quick read. I don't know. But this is like a horror book that takes place in a furniture store, and this will be my 3rd book by Grady Hendrix, so I'm really excited. Alright, so I moved out to the living room because I wanted to play an ambiance video, and I've really been liking the ones from this channel, Inner Academia. I really like this Slytherin one, and then this one, the fall study session, I really like when I'm doing like timed reading. But I think today I'm gonna play this one, which is just like a cute window with rain sounds. I'm gonna play that and get back into Horrorster. I am about 70 pages in.
Let Orsk help you be yourself. The Orsk way. Choose yourself. Wind your way through our showroom. Explore design concepts and sample combinations of furniture and fun.
Okay, I finished Horrorster, and I don't know how I feel about it. It was definitely a quick read. I was listening to the audiobook and following along, and I definitely enjoyed that method because the audiobook narration is really good, and then this kind of had like an immersive feel to it, just with all of the different furniture elements and stuff. But in terms of like the story, I never really got into it. I don't know, like I have no thoughts. I have no thoughts about it, which I feel like is a bad sign. I think if this had been my first Grady Hendrix book, maybe I would have liked it better, but since I've read some of his other books and like really loved them, this was just kind of like it was fine. From his other books, there were things that like actually scared me and like made me feel like very disturbed. I never felt scared while reading this. I do think it was a really interesting concept. Basically, this furniture store that is very much like IKEA is haunted, and it's about a couple of the employees investigating what's going on, and they learn some like very sinister things about the store. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I just have no thoughts about it. Like, it's a thing that I read, and I'm probably going to have forgotten about it by tomorrow. I feel super shady. Like, I feel like everybody loves this. I don't know why it just didn't work for me. But it is now noon, so I'm gonna take a little break, and I think I'm gonna go get lunch, and then I'm also going to stop by my mailbox because I think that there is a book in there that is a horror book that I really want to read. My package was at my mailbox, and I think that this is my pre-order of Nothing But Blackened Teeth, which is a horror book that I've been anticipating so much. I'm so excited. Wow, this is shorter than I was expecting it to be. This is, it says it's a gorgeously creepy haunted house tale steeped in Japanese folklore. I've been hearing amazing things about this, so I think that this will be the next thing that I pick up after I eat my lunch. I got Whataburger. It's now 2 o'clock. I finished lunch, and then I also edited my video that is going up tomorrow. So now I can get back into my books. So like I said, next I'm going to read Nothing But Blackened Teeth. First of all, look at this cover. This is like an amazing cover. Also, I'm just now realizing that this book is blurbed by not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. This is blurbed by like 5 authors who I love. Front blurb is from N.K. Jemisin. Then it's blurbed by Seanan McGuire, T. Kingfisher, Stephen Graham Jones, Josh Malerman. If I was doing another reading books blurbed by my favorite authors video, this would literally be like the perfect one to do. It says, a mansion stands abandoned, its foundations resting on the bones of a bride and its walls packed with the remains of the girls sacrificed to keep her company. It's the perfect venue for a group of thrill-seeking friends brought back together to celebrate a wedding. A night of food, drinks, and games quickly spirals into a nightmare as secrets get dragged out and relationships are tested. But the house has secrets too. Lurking in the shadows is the ghost bride, with a black smile and a hungry heart, and she gets lonely down there in the dirt. I'm calling it now. This is gonna be amazing. I might be hyping myself up a little bit too much, but I'm very excited. This came out today, and I think I saw that I got the audiobook from my library. I had requested it a while ago. It's only 2.5 hours, so this should not take me that long to read. All right, I finished Nothing But Blackened Teeth, and I really, really loved this. So, like I said, it follows 5 friends who are gathering together for a wedding between 2 of them. And the bride really, really wants to get married in a haunted house. That's like always been her dream. So they go to this like famous haunted mansion in Japan from the Heian era, where there is like a tale that a bride was going to get married there and her husband-to-be died on the way to the wedding, so she decided that she wanted to be buried alive at this mansion to wait for her husband to come. And so every year since then, this was like hundreds of years ago, every year since then, a woman has died in the walls of that house in order to keep the bride company. Yeah, that's like all you really need to know going into it. I don't want to say much more about like the plot because it kind of unfolds and there's like twists and turns. A really big part of it is like unfolding the dynamic between all of these characters and like history that they have with each other, and some of them have secrets, some of them have grudges. The main character was recently hospitalized for depression and an attempted suicide. And yeah, I really liked this. This was the first thing that I read from Cassandra Call, but I realized I have another book by her called Hammers on Bone that I've had this for years and I've never read it. So this has definitely moved up onto my TBR. So it's 4:30. I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from reading because I have a couple work things that I have to do. But out of everything that I planned on reading today, I'm doing pretty good. I just have Goddess of Filth left. Oop, that's my reading timer. I just have Goddess of Filth left, which is very short. And then I'll probably have to pick more books to read. So I'm gonna do a little face mask and then I'm gonna take Goddess of Filth with me and just like chill in the bathtub. I need to wash my hair too, so I'm not even gonna worry about getting this mask in my hair. That is good enough. I finished Goddess of Filth. I loved this, but I'm gonna talk about it more in the morning because it's now 8:30. It's almost my bedtime. I need to go to sleep, but this was amazing. 5 stars. Good morning. So it is 8 o'clock. I am not counting the hours that I slept in my like reading for 24 hours. I wasn't about to mess up my whole sleep schedule for this. But like I said, last night I finished Goddess of Filth and this was so good. I ended up giving it 5 stars. The way that I would describe this is almost like The Craft meets Jennifer's Body. And those are like 2 of my all-time favorite movies. Basically, this follows a group of girls who one night they hold a seance and one of the girls accidentally gets possessed by an Aztec goddess who has an appetite for sin. This was just like really unexpected how much I loved this. And it was really cool because it takes place in the city where I grew up. So there were so many like references to like different food and restaurants and places. And I really loved that aspect of it. This also touches a lot on like sexuality, specifically like feminine sexuality and like the intersection of religion and sexuality. Literally my only critique is that I wish I could have gotten a full-length novel of this book, but even with how short it was, it didn't feel lacking in plot or character development or story. It was amazing. I loved the ending. I love these characters. This was 5 stars. This might be my favorite thing that I've read so far. So today, I'm actually headed home to my parents' house for my stepdad's birthday. So they live like an hour away. So I am going to find an audiobook that I can listen to in the car. So I'm gonna see what my library has. Okay, so I'm going to pull up horror audiobooks and then I'm going to sort them by what's available now and then adult. And then I guess like new releases. Oh, Night of the Mannequins. I've been wanting to read that by Stephen Graham Jones, so I'll get that. A House at the Bottom of the Lake. I just bought a copy of this. It's like being shipped to me So I'll get that one. Love Josh Mallerman. Ooh, Rolling in the Deep by Mira Grant. Okay, wait, that's what I'm gonna get. This is the prequel to Into the Drowning Deep, which is like my all-time favorite horror book, and I've been meaning to read this, and it's only 3 hours, and with the speed that I listen to audiobooks, I should be able to finish it in my drive. So yeah, I'm gonna get on the road. I wanna get an early start today. Are you ready? So I'm going to start listening to Rolling in the Deep. I'm so excited. I just got to my parents' house and I finished Rolling in the Deep on the drive. I loved this. Like I said, Into the Drowning Deep is my all-time favorite horror book. It was what got me into horror. I haven't even explained what it's about. It's about killer mermaids. So Into the Drowning Deep basically is about, years ago, there was a mockumentary crew who like make documentaries about like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. They decided to make a documentary about mermaids in the Mariana Trench. So they gathered this whole like expedition of film crew and scientists and people to sail out there and try to prove if there's mermaids or not. And they didn't actually believe that mermaids were gonna be there. They were kind of like trying to fake it. But they show up and it turns out there are mermaids there and they are predators and they kill every single person on board. Into the Drowning Deep takes place, I think like 10 years after that, where another crew of scientists are gathered together to go out to the Mariana Trench and investigate what happened to this crew. So that's what that whole book is. Rolling in the Deep is about that mockumentary crew that went out there and died. So you don't have to have read this one before Into the Drowning Deep. I honestly feel like I would recommend you don't, because the slow build of Into the Drowning Deep, where you like haven't seen the mermaids yet, like the payoff is a lot better when you haven't already read Rolling in the Deep. So I would recommend reading Into the Drowning Deep first and then going back and reading Rolling in the Deep. But I loved this, 5 stars. These mermaids are probably my favorite creatures from any book ever. Like they're so horrific and scary, but I love them. And this was amazing. So I do have some packages. One of these books might be The House at the Bottom of the Lake, because I did order that a couple days ago. Oh my god. I literally was gonna go out this weekend to buy this book. This is The Perks of Loving a Wallflower by Erica Ridley. And I loved the first book, The Duke Heist. It was like one of my favorite historical romances that I read earlier in the year. And this is the second book and it's sapphic. I've been so excited for this. Oh my god, that was such a good surprise. Oh, actually, I think I know what this is. This is a copy of Sun Daughters, Sea Daughters by Amy Ogden. This is a sci-fi Little Mermaid retelling. It says, one woman will travel to the stars and beyond to save her beloved in this lyrical space opera that reimagines The Little Mermaid. Doesn't that just sound amazing? This book is blurbed by Seanan McGuire, and this was a book that I was going to read for my video where I read all books that Seanan McGuire had blurbed, but I couldn't get it in time for that video. And then the last package I have, this one is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. I ordered this because I loved For Your Own Good, and I want to read Samantha Downing's other books, and this one says Dexter meets Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I believe it's about a married couple who are also serial killers. Very much gives me Joe and Love vibes. Okay, I just finished The Night of the Mannequins, and it was definitely not what I was expecting, but I think I really liked it, and I don't even know what I can say about it that's not a spoiler because it's not what you think. The setup, I guess, is about a group of friends who, when they were kids, they found this abandoned, like, store mannequin, and they decided to play with it, and it, like, became their friend, and then as they grew up, they, like, stopped playing with the mannequin, and then when they're older, one of the friends thinks that he sees the mannequin alive in the movie theater with them. And that's like all I can say about it because it's just weird. But I liked it. I really liked Stephen Graham Jones' writing. His writing is very engaging. Who are you barking at? Because I know it's not me. So yeah, I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from reading right now. I've read a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna take a break, hang out with my family for a bit. I think we're gonna take all the dogs to a park, and then maybe I'll be able to squeeze in one more book. So after taking the dogs to the park, I didn't end up reading any more books, but I'm really happy with how my 24-hour readathon went. I read 6 books and 3 of them ended up being 5 stars, and I read almost 1,000 pages in total. So it was a pretty great day. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!